All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in today's video. Now, I was actually going to go through the injury report and talk about guys like Antoine Winfield Jr. making his return on the field because it's a big-ass deal. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I was reading an article on the Bleacher Report just now, and here's what they had to say. They were giving like their take on every team in the NFL. Here's what they had to say about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 10-7. It's wild they continue to find a way to win this division and get into the playoffs year after year, even as the core ages and the roster becomes thinner altogether. Are they a Super Bowl team? No. Could they put up some fight and even do some surprise damage, considering Baker Mayfield was the league's fourth highest rated passer and the offense ranked fourth in points per game? Absolutely. So, not as disrespectful as I thought it was going to be when I read the first sentence and second sentence. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as Mike Evans said, can 100,000% win the Super Bowl. But folks, I find it baffling that most people just have no idea what's going on in Tampa Bay. It's ever since, even when Tom Brady won the Super Bowl a couple of seasons ago, it felt like the only people really who knew what was going on in Tampa were people who live in Tampa or Tampa Bay Bucs fans. Tampa's averaging 29.5 points per game. All right, that's the fourth best in the NFL. It's pretty much 30. They're third in passing yards per game. As that thing said, Baker Mayfield's been one of the best QBs in the entire NFL this season. They're fourth in total rushing yards per game, 149.2. Last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took down Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, right? They were dead last in rushing. This is a completely different team. They're fourth in total touchdowns on the season. They're second in yards per play. They're keeping it clean. Before we get any further into today's rant video injury update, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Bucs and NFL content. Also, this video is sponsored by BetUS, but more on that in a couple of minutes. Defensively, I think is where most people have these woes, and that's why I wanted to bring in the injury report from yesterday, all right? Logan Hall and Tyke Smith are back, and Antoine Winfield Jr. is a full participant again. This is the healthiest the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been in months. Like, honestly, genuinely months. Antoine Winfield has not played since what, week 14? Week 13, I think it was week 14. The dude is an all-pro guy, right? And you know this. Bucs fans know this. And good NFL fans, aware NFL fans know this. Last season, for example, Antoine Winfield had 6 sacks, 122 tackles. He had 4 fumble recoveries. He had 6 forced fumbles. He had 12 passes defended. He had 3 total interceptions, and that's why he was an all-pro guy, right? This dude is a stud. He is a freak. He is just extremely young still. He's only in his 5th NFL year. He's 26 years old. Like, Antoine is a stud. And the big issue with the Buccaneers defense, it's not sacks. They're 6th in total sacks. Shout out guys like Vita Vea, Yaya Diaby. I literally just freaking almost butchered that. Kalijah Cansey, Logan Hall. Think all these defensive guys. Sacks aren't their issue. Getting to the quarterback's not their issue. Defending the rush isn't the issue, right? Tampa's the 4th best rush defense in the NFL. And, the big issue is passing yards per game, but it's not scoring. They're 16th in scoring on the season, right? So let me check this out, right? All right, guys, before we get back into this video here, this one's for my believers. This is for my Buck believers. We're over here on BetUS, the sponsor of today's video. We're looking at the NFL Super Bowl winner for this year's playoffs. And if you look here, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers clocking in at plus 3,000. Not too bad. It's around the Chargers, it's around the Packers, it's around the Vikings. But it's plus 3,000. I'm just saying, if you're feeling it, because we're talking Super Bowl in today's video, we're talking a deep playoff run. It's available on BetUS. Also, guys, they're offering 150% bonus on your first deposit and 125% bonus on your next 2, all with the code YouTube150. Let's get back to the video. One of the best offensive lines in the National Football League. I've got one of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL. I've got one of the most underrated, talented QBs of the season in Baker Mayfield. I've got a top 5 rushing attack. I've got a clear-cut wide receiver number 1 in Mike Evans. I've got young rookie J-Mac, who's had a touchdown in 5 straight games. Also, Cade Otton is going to be back. He's practicing fully. All right. So I got a really good offensive line. In fact, the fourth best offense, right? And defensively, I check all the boxes. I defend the run. I've got a stud in the backfield. I got a stud linebacker. I got a stud on the line. What's the issue? Why can't Tampa win the Super Bowl? And Mike Evans was asked this question, I think, yesterday, and he was like, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I don't see why not. Maybe why not? Well, first off, they're the number 3 seed. There's two really good teams. There's all these teams in the NFC playoffs are really good, right? And honestly, Tampa's beat most of them. All right. The one team that would concern me if I was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or any team in the NFC is the Detroit Lions. But you can't pick when you play the Detroit Lions. You can't pick how that goes on. But you're going to have to play Detroit eventually, right? But they can beat Philly. They can beat Minnesota. They could still beat Detroit. They could beat Green Bay. They certainly can beat the Washington Commanders. I can't wait for Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans. I love that that's like a rivalry. Lattimore is such a good defensive back. He's a really good, talented guy. But let's be real here. Who always wins the battle? Is it Mike Evans or is it Marshawn Lattimore? It's always Mike Evans. It's always Mike Evans. But the big catalyst to me when regarding the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playoff run, it's the running. It's an absolutely lethal room. We just heard Todd Bowles say recently that he wants to see Rachaad White, or he's going to give Rachaad White more carries. But Bucky Irving just put up an insane season. And Tampa fans, rightfully so, love this dude. They love it. He just had 207 rushing attempts for 1,122 yards and 8 touchdowns. Guys, that's a 5.42 yard per carry average. Rachaad White just had his best season of his NFL career as far as efficiency goes. He ran the ball 144 times for 613 yards, averaging 4.26 yards per carry. Baker Mayfield just almost ran for 400 yards. He was huge in Sunday's win against the New Orleans Saints. Sean Tucker averages 6.2 yards per carry. This rushing attack is so different, and they're all threats out of the receiving game. Bucky Irving had 47 catches for 392 yards. Rachaad White had 51 catches for 393 yards. I mean, it's a lethal offense. And I think and by the way, the offensive line, out of their mind. Graham Barton, absolutely stacked at the center position for the foreseeable future. Tristan Wirfs, another just probably the best tackle in the NFL at this current point in time. I mean, their offensive line future is bright. I would say the only thing missing as far as national media attention would be Chris Godwin's injury. But like we've said, and like we've been saying on this channel for so long now, Jalen McMillan has turned into a stud. 5 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown against the Saints. 5 catches, 51 yards, and 2 touchdowns against the Panthers. 5 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown against Dallas. 5 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown against the Chargers. 4 catches, 59 yards, and 2 touchdowns against the Raiders. That's J-Mac's last 5 games. So they got all the offensive firepower. They're getting healthier and healthier on defense. Antoine Winfield Jr. is back. Tyke Smith, Logan Hall, Cade Otton. These dudes are healthy. This is the healthiest Bucs team I've seen in a very long time this year, all right? This team's going to make noise. It starts Sunday night at home against the Washington Commanders. It's going to be a phenomenal game. We're going to definitely post probably a preview video on this channel tomorrow, so stay tuned. But thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL and Bucs content. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video. And guys, let me know down below, what is the final score to Tampa, Washington, Sunday night? Peace.